people think of the United States, they think of this city, as was talked about earlier. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But underneath all of those twinkling lights, something is not right in New York City. Shootings in Times Square, robberies in broad daylight, stabbings on the subway. I got into a cab yesterday, and the gentleman who was driving had been doing it for 25 years. And without knowing who I was or why I was here, he proceeded to talk about the city. And he said, "This city has changed." And I asked him what he meant by that. And he immediately started talking about the crime. It's gotten so bad, it's out of control. This, unfortunately, is what we get in Joe Biden's America and Alvin Bragg's New York City. To the good people of New York, we hear you. We are here in New York today because we want to hear from you, and we hope that your local leaders start to listen to you as well. When the hearing was first noticed, the district attorney released a statement that we were coming to the, and I quote, "safest big city in America," and that this hearing was a political stunt. You want to know the real political stunt? Politicians in New York and other places continually pushing failed policies despite knowing that they don't work. Let's talk about this for a second. According to the New York Police Department, in Alvin Bragg's first year in public office in 2022, rapes are up 7%, felony assaults rose 13%, robberies spiked 26%, burglaries are up 23%, grand larceny is up 26%, auto theft has risen 32%, 170,000 felonies in New York City in 2022 alone, the most since 2006. Does that sound like the safest big city in America? I think not. The question is why? New York State eliminated cash bail for most crimes, tying the hands of judges and law enforcement. Alvin Bragg's Day One memo, which outlined his office's position that he would not prosecute certain types of crimes. In addition, rather than approach each case on the facts of the offense committed, his office is focused on how much money you make, your circumstances, or your immigration status before deciding whether to charge a crime. And of course, as was already talked about, defunding $1 billion out of the New York Police Department's budget. 52% of felony charges are downgraded to misdemeanors in this district attorney's office, the highest number in years. The felonies they actually decide to prosecute, his office was only successful in securing the conviction on 50% of those, the lowest number in years. On misdemeanors, 29% of misdemeanor charges resulted in conviction. If you listen to the district attorney, he sounds and acts more like a public defender than a prosecutor. If you want to defend criminals, be a public defender. If you want to change policy, run for the state assembly. Instead of partnering with the New York Police Department to prosecute these crimes, he seems hostile. It's no wonder that officers in the New York Police Department are resigning at a record rate. According to a recent article by the New York Post, there is a 117% increase in cops resigning in 2022 alone. That's the most since right after 9/11. Regarding New York's bail law, the John Jay College of Criminal Justice found that approximately 72% of violent felony offenders who were released without bail were rearrested. Recidivism is so bad in New York that 327 individuals were arrested for more than 6,000 crimes of retail theft. That's not giving somebody a second chance. That's letting them do the same thing over and over again to about 20 times and still letting them off the hook. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Maybe the 21st time they'll wake up. From an interview in January, District Attorney Bragg said he knows what's going on in the streets. Does he? It doesn't sound like it. Ms. Brame, I want to start with you and to the other victims. Who benefits more in this city, law-abiding citizens or criminals?
Can you repeat that, please?
Who benefits more in this city, law-abiding citizens or criminals?
Oh, absolutely criminals, 100%.
Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Borgen?
Unfortunately, it's the criminals who are getting all the perks.
Ms. Brame, have you spoken to the district attorney about your son's case?
Absolutely not. No response.
If you could speak to him today about it, what would you say?
I would demand that he reopen that gang assault and that murder case against Mary Saunders and Travis Stewart. If no one is above the law, prove it. Prove it by prosecuting them. Bring that case to trial.
Thank you for your time today, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.